Hi BGD Addicts, TV Fairy here. I actually am making a video response, BGD Addict prompt number 19, horror stories. I've kicked around the idea of doing this one for a while because I didn't want to make it sound like I was slamming any party involved, but I figured I'll tell my story without really giving details on as far as the doll company, because I don't necessarily think it's their fault. It was just my opinion of things that had happened and the way things had played out. I wasn't too happy with them. My horror story is I had an Anthro doll that I had ordered last January, and I got it, and when I got it, it looked fine. I cleaned it because I decided to body blush it, and I cleaned it with, I think I just washed it with soap and water. I can't honestly remember exactly because this was last year when I did it, but, oh, I remember what happened. I washed it down, gave it its normal bath, put it all back, and I clear coated it with Mr. Super Clear. It is a colored resin doll, and it all clouded because Mr. Super Clear clouds on colored resin. Not all the time. I know that's my fault for not doing the research to double check to make sure it happened, but I didn't know it clouded on colored resin, and it clouded up and was spotty, which sadly that's not the end of the horror story. I actually had to wipe it then, and to get the Mr. Super Clear off, I used Winsor & Newton. And what I did is I actually just put Winsor & Newton on cotton balls and washed it off by hand, and in the process of washing it, I revealed a crazy amount of scratches on the resin, and it was just horrifying how much ended up being revealed. And this is the first time I ever had a doll that ended up with something like that. I contacted, because I had actually bought it through a distributor, and I contacted the distributor, and unfortunately, in my opinion, the response wasn't handled right. I didn't blame the distributor. I didn't blame the doll maker. I was just pretty much contacting them for answers, suggestions. I told them what happened, and I had never had this happen before, and I thought maybe the distributor could give me some suggestions on what I should do. And the person who responded to my email, and this is just one person out of a large company, came back and blamed me for all the scratches that I'd found. Turns out, from what I can figure and what I've come across, or what I've found after posting my story on DOA, is because it was all along the seam lines of the doll's legs and everything. Whatever must have happened, whatever the company might have, if the company had sprayed them with something afterward, or if there was still some mold release from when they took the doll out of the mold, something had ended up covering up the seam line scratches from them sanding down the seam line, and I revealed them. And as I said, I'm not blaming any particular person. I think the whole thing that ticked me off was the fact that I had brought it to somebody's attention, not saying I wanted a new doll, I wanted my money back. It was something it happens. What bothered me was the fact that, I'd gotten blamed, and the person almost made it sound like it was my fault that Winsor & Newton and cotton balls apparently turns to steel wool in these hands, that I had scratched through the resin with this Winsor & Newton and cotton balls, and I had frankly never ever heard of that happening before. I ended up putting the doll away. I got so annoyed with it and so upset I ended up putting her away, and I didn't touch her for 2 months. And then I just, decided to take her back out, and I wet sanded and I smoothed down with fine 1000 green, sandpaper, and I took care of the scratch marks and body blushed, and now she's part of the family and looks adorable. But the whole thing just kind of soured me, and I did write a neutral review for the distributor company, not because of the company upset me, but because of this one particular person had upset me. And that's pretty much it. You know, that was my horror story. I guess it's not too bad when you really boil down to it, but at the time it was enough to be a horror story to me. Thankfully, and now that I said that, something's going to happen, knock on wood. You know, thankfully nothing too in-depth and horrible has happened. So, thank you for watching this short little video, which I suppose is a happy, nice one with some of my rambly ones. So thanks again. Bye!